Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you?
I'm well, beautiful. How you doing?
I am doing well. I'm very excited. I am thankful for your yes, thankful for the connection. Uh,
Yes,
I am just listen. Today has been a great day. I was able to spend it with family, so that's always nice.
of course. And thank you for having me. I'm definitely grateful for the platform. I'm thankful for the opportunity. I'm thankful for the conversation in advance. So we ready.
We ready. So, I am Ashley Angelina, your favorite host on the East Coast. Welcome to Black, Bold, and Beautiful, the podcast for the culture. As you all know, we have been in the mental health series, and we just tied up for wrapped up for the men. We are now merging over to the women, which is where Mr. Jar comes in right now. She too had been working with some men when it came to mental health, so we're going to just share some conversations with that and then eventually merge over into mental health for women. So go ahead and introduce yourself. Let the listeners and viewers know who you are, what you do.
Okay. All right. I've been working on this. It sounds like a long list, but hello, everybody. Thank you to the Black, Bold, and Beautiful family for having me. My name is Ajay Johnson, and I am the visionary behind the Guided Millennial. Outside of that, I'm also a regional family care coordinator for DJJ, so the Department of Juvenile Justice. I'm a therapist to teenagers, adolescents, young adults. But the Guided Millennial is a community, well, online and in-person community where I discuss the millennial journey guided by God. And we just talk about the things that are taboo. We talk about the things that are difficult. We talk about the things that are uncomfortable. We host conversation parties, and we just provide spaces and places where we can be seen, heard, understood, valued, and just building that connection, bridging that gap between men and women and women, men and men, just to kind of just show light, or spread light, and just give enlightenment about how we are alike and similar a lot more than we think we are. So that's me. That is me.
I love it. I love it. I am definitely, like I said, excited to work with you on your um, events that you have coming up,
Yes,
just to
ma'am.
work with you on your journey. I'm definitely excited about that. But let's go ahead and get into it. So,
Yeah.
just give me a little more information on the recent social that you had for Black men in mental health.
Okay. So as I mentioned, we host conversation parties. Conversation parties for me have been fairly new. My first one was in 2020. That one was very informal. I did not coin the term conversation parties. It was not started by me. I saw it online. It was more so like a dinner party series. I had been
Okay.
praying about it, and I'm like, okay, God, that sounds very unique. That's pretty. That would be pretty cool to do. It really wasn't something that I had plans for, but I'm just like, okay, well, that's a possibility. So they're pretty much exactly that, a party to have conversation. So you have areas to take pictures. There's a theme. You can dress up. Um, there's food, there's drinks, everything that you need to socialize is there. And I just bring the conversation piece. So for the men, I had been wanting to do that for so long. I've always had a heart for men, just grateful for the grace that God has given me to be an ally within that community. And
Right.
that one was talked, well, the theme was makings of a man. And so the M words that we had were making, measuring, momentum, and motivation. There was one more that I think I'm forgetting, but for the most part, we just kind of dissected those words. So we talked about masculinity, manhood, the experiences that kind of define that for them, the situations that would interfere with their ability to be the man that they desire to be, what
Right.
that ideal man looks like. So we kind of had a group conversation. Well, not we, I just was facilitating the conversation, but we started off with just makings and motives and just figuring out why male spaces are necessary, why more conversations for men are necessary and important. And then they had breakout sessions. So there was a single group, a married group, there was a group with kids or without kids, there was a group for entrepreneurs, 9 to 5ers. Just kind of breaking down the dynamics of how those titles and roles and responsibilities really influence how they see themselves, how they see their families, how they show up in the world, talking about value, talking about enoughness, worthiness, just dissecting those things generally. So we will have a part 2 in February. They asked for it, so I'm gonna give it to them, and just kind of breaking those definitions down in a deeper way. What I really wanted them to have was, one, a space where they didn't just kind of show up and it was just thrown together. It was decorated, the food was catered, whatever it is that they were looking for, it was in the room. And so I was excited to see their reactions, to see that there was something made just for them. And I think
Okay.
the other caveat with that was allowing themselves to get to know men who they had not seen before, and
Right.
just realize that they're not alone, that they're all in the same journey of figuring this thing out, walking this thing out, redefining things, unlearning, relearning, just all of those different things. And it was a lot of healthy conversation, healthy dialogue, and just a moment to realize, like, as a man, I didn't know that I needed to be
Right.
around men vulnerably. So
Yeah.
it was beautiful. It was beautiful for sure.
Yeah. It sounds really dope. Definitely sounds really dope. Now as a woman of color, to
Mhm.
be on such a platform to help men of color, um,
Yes.
how does that, make you feel? Like, how does that, what does that do for you personally?
Ooh. Um, there is an insurmountable amount of joy that I get seeing Black men express themselves,
Right.
seeing them laugh, seeing them be comfortable, seeing them be vulnerable. It is a gift that I've been granted for the last few years that I work hard not to take for granted.
Right.
Because you and I, as we're allies creating spaces for Black men, we can have friends who don't experience that. They don't
Yeah.
know what it's like to be around a healthy Black man, or a Black man that's progressing or working on themselves. So it brings me joy to be able to see it, because that was a part of the conversation too. Them realizing that I legit was the only woman in the room.
Right.
And while majority of them were there to support me and my brand because they know my character, at the same time, it was the reality of, okay, Aja's a woman. So I
Yeah.
really want to see how a woman is going to create a space for
For men.
men.
Right.
Yeah, like what she's gonna do in there, what she's gonna say. So it brings me joy to be able to have that access, but it's a challenge at the same time, because I know why now it was needed, and not
Right.
necessarily needed, but I believe now I understand why I had permission from God to do it now, because
Yeah.
before I really wasn't the type of woman who could sit in that room and be trusted with that. So I
Hmm.
had to do my own work, and I had to be trusted, and to kind of prove, honestly, as much as we don't want to prove with brands and with ourselves, I had to prove to them why I could be an asset, why I could be
Yes.
somebody that they trusted, and I had to be consistent. So
Absolutely.
it's been a challenge, but it's been a joy and a gift, because I get access to a lot of things in a lot of ways. And I know a lot of people, especially women, don't really get that. So it's a blessing to me. It's a blessing.
Absolutely, definitely, like you said, to be in a space where you can get men to open up, and to
Hmm.
open up with you there.
Yes.
It's different to hang out with the fellas and just kind of kick it and talk about the surface stuff, but to
Yes.
get down to the nitty gritty and really get deep, and to do that with a woman in the room who's actually
Hmm.
facilitating this thing, there's a lot.
Yes.
Definitely, there's a lot. I think in interviewing the young men that I have interviewed, I spoke with a father and a son about mental health and all those things, and just like you, like just to have such, I don't want to say a rank, but a pool where they're comfortable with talking to me about those things.
Yes.
They don't know me at all. They just know me because I
Right.
shot them an email like, "Hey, this is my podcast. I see what you're doing. I would love to have you on the show," type thing.
Hmm.
It was a great conversation. And it wasn't just about, mental health, like, oh, life is just sucky type thing. But
Right.
we talked about a lot of stuff. And in talking to me, they got a lot of confirmations on things that
Hmm.
they wanted to do. They were kind of hesitant on. These are things, like I said, I don't know these guys at all.
Yeah.
First time ever talking to them, didn't know what, was on their agenda, what they want to do. But to be able to speak with them get confirmation, and then just build that relationship of trust
Right.
to know that, all right, I can open up, I can let that macho-ness go, my ego, I can set it to the side and just have a conversation. So I definitely
Oof.
commend you for that for sure.
Yes. And how was that for you? Like you had a whole series. You're talking to
Yeah.
multiple men. Like what was that gift for you, if you don't mind me asking?
So for me, I am definitely thankful, just like you, equally as grateful, humble. I have definitely learned a lot.
Mhm.
And it honestly has helped me even in my personal life being able to
Yeah.
approach my husband in a certain way because I think I was able to look at things differently because it wasn't him saying it. It
Mm.
was from other men saying it. So it's
Okay.
just like, I wonder if he feels this way. I wonder if, if I'm doing these things that may make him feel that
Yeah.
way, or maybe that's why he responded this way. But it was a great blessing. I gained a lot of connections, a lot of, friendships. But just to kind of get inside of the man's perspective of their head and
Mhm.
just kind of understand their viewpoint, understand, their day to day life. Because I
Yeah.
know that we kind of don't ever, it's always not always at the forefront of what they have to go through. But
Mhm.
if we try to be a man for a day, I don't know about you, but I don't think I would be able to make
I'm
it.
good. I don't
I
have no
just,
interest.
I just feel like I wouldn't be able to make it. But I was
No.
definitely appreciative. I've learned a lot. Definitely have gained much more respect for me, and definitely that are men of color.
Yeah.
Um, and like I said, it's just opened my mind, and it's just definitely made me want to do more when it
Mhm.
comes to mental health theories and speaking to more men and maybe even possibly doing some kickbacks or whatever similar to what you're doing
Yeah.
because I think that these spaces are necessary.
They are.
um, and I don't think there's a lot of them. I think people need to learn that it's okay to not to be okay. And I know that sounds cliche, but they need to realize that it is okay not to be okay. It's okay to have a bad day. That's fine because you're normal and you have
Yep.
emotions that you don't always have control over because sometimes you don't even know where these emotions coming from.
Oof.
And I think just this week I experienced that because what was it, Friday? I was just laying in bed and granted I had a rough week,
Mhm.
but I was just laying in bed and it wasn't that I was crying, but my eyes just kept watering and watering and watering. And I'm like, Lord, I
Yeah.
don't understand what this is. And I just felt like my heart was crying. It's not like I
Oof.
was having a cry, but I felt like my heart was crying and that's where those tears were coming from. It wasn't
Yeah.
anything I could pinpoint. Um, but those tears were flowing and I just let it happen. I just sat in the room. My kids were out there, my husband was out there, and I just sat in here and I kind of straightened a little bit, organized, listened to my audiobook.
Mhm.
I listened to Sarah Jake's new book. I can't think of it, Lord.
Oh, all hope is found. Yes.
Listen, let me tell you something. I hope it's
I haven't even tapped into it yet. I'm
okay.
scared, honey.
Well, I ain't
I
gonna
went
talk
to
about
one
it.
evolve,
I'm
and
not gonna
after
talk
one
about it.
evolve, I was done. So I knew between all hope is found and the Garden Within with Dr. Anita Phillips, I wasn't gonna touch it yet. I need a second. Need
Let
a
me
second.
just
Mm-mm.
tell you that. So initially, I was reading it. My friend and I, well, me and two of my friends were gonna read it and then have discussions about it weekly,
Yeah.
right? And we supposed to just read a chapter. Baby,
Mm.
I was headed to chapter 3 until I realized, like, all right, you have to stop because you supposed to be reading a chapter. This had got
Woo!
my whole life together in just 2.5 chapters, and I
Man.
appreciate it. And I had me a good time in the Lord by myself in here in this room.
And that's
But
it.
listen, it was so good. Like
Yeah.
it's good in a way of not like making you feel bad about yourself, but it's good in a way of helping you get your life and like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, you did it. This is what you're going through. Get it together because you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Like it. Just when you read it, we can talk about it
It did
because
what it needed to do. So when I get into it, I'm in your inbox. I promise.
it's good.
I'm
Um,
excited.
but yeah, it was really good. So and I just realized that my heart was crying, and I realized that I had been
Mhm.
through a lot. This past week, I had went through a lot, and it
Yeah.
wasn't even a lot of stuff home. Most of it was at work, like work stuff. And I had made a vow to myself. So I made a vow to myself because last year this time we lost my father-in-law.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And in losing him, we were of course prepping for the funeral, and like I was going out on a birthday trip, so I had to cancel those things. Kind of stressing over that because I'm
Mhm.
like, Lord, I need my money back. Let me get a flight credit or something. I need something.
Yeah.
So we were able to work some things out. My sister-in-law actually got on the phone and got my flight credit for me.
Okay.
Um, Hotels, Airbnb was giving me a hard time. Such happy, but I was doing my hair, and so prior to this, I was having headaches, and I went
Mhm.
to the hospital, and they said I was like, "Hey, like my face is tingly on my left side, like it's just feeling
Mhm.
really weird." I was like, "It sometimes it's numb, da da da," and they was
Mhm.
just like, "Oh, sounds like the beginning of a Bell's palsy. Like there's not anything you can do about it. It's just one of those things you have to go through." It was like your face is gonna droop. You know, you're just telling me all the things that to look
Oh,
forward to.
wow.
Um, and it was just like, and I was like, what's the cause? And it was like stress. I was like, oh Lord. I was like, all right, well, all right. I don't think I'm stressing, but okay. And that's that
Yeah.
unknown stress, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. So that went on about a couple weeks, and then the whole thing happened with my father-in-law. He passed. So we're getting ready, and I was doing my hair, and like my husband's in the room, and where I was sitting, he could see me. So I'm like doing my hair, and my left eye just vision goes,
Oh,
right?
man.
Vision goes, get a sharp pain in my head. In this moment, I'm thinking, Lord, I got two little children. This can't be it. So I'm like, babe, something's wrong. He's like, what do you mean? I said, I have a sharp pain in my head and I can't see out my left eye. He takes me to the hospital. They run tests to tell me that I had a mini stroke, right? I am, at that time, I was only 31
Yeah.
with two babies. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like,
Mm.
Lord, I can't let stress be the reason
Mm-mm.
that I'm not here for my babies. And in 2020, I had a dark moment.
Yeah.
I had to go spend them good old 72 hours. I had to go spend them. But being going through those things, I have made a vow to myself that I won't allow others to get me so stressed and so far gone till I
Yeah.
get to that point. And this week, that was my battle, was trying not to
Mhm.
allow people to have me so stressed or so upset that now it's starting to trickle down to my health. So I think that was a lot of why my heart was crying. I think that was a lot of why my heart was crying.
Yeah.
And I today I didn't really want to go to the baby shower because I was like, I ain't really feeling it and still trying to piece
Yeah.
together life together. And my husband's like, no, I think you need to go. You need to go, be around your family, whatever. So I went. My aunt drove up with me, her, and my two kids. We went, had a good time, came back, and I'm really glad that I went. But I say that to say that, like, self care is so important. And I know that we are, looking and interested in trying to help our men of color, but we also have to think about us
Yes.
because we carry a lot of things. And like I said, we hold a lot of unknown stress, and
Mm.
stress is a silent killer. And I think that, these platforms and your platform, my platform, these are platforms that are needed because yeah, we need to help those who are out here struggling. And I know what it is.
Somebody has to talk about it.
Yeah, yeah, I know what it is
Mhm.
to struggle. So I think that's where my, heart felt. That's why I'm so passionate about, mental health.
And I love that. And I thank you for uh that vulnerability too. And it's I've always had the pull towards therapy, just towards the mental health world altogether. I really wanted to be an OBGYN or
Mhm.
a CSI field investigator, to be very honest. I was stuck
Okay.
on those two passions, but the pull for this world, this field has always been on me for a very long time. And I kind of just leaned into it, but I had a similar moment to you back in 2018. And
Okay.
for me, it was I was having migraines, and I don't have migraines, but I was
Oh Lord.
having them, and I'm getting MRIs, I'm getting CAT scans, I'm getting the tests. Like somebody better make sense of it. And
Yeah.
nobody could tell me anything. They're like, your tests are fine, everything's okay. Like we're zooming in, like we're looking at these things, and nothing is there. And it wasn't until I was in the waiting room for another appointment that I had to sit with myself and be like, okay, God, what's really going on? And it was just like, you already know the answer.
Yeah.
You know the answer. And it was
Yeah.
at that point, I went to the receptionist and I told her, hey, you don't even have to worry about the appointment.
Right.
I'm going to go home. Because I
Because
knew
Jesus
right
already
then
told me.
and there.
Jesus
Uh-huh.
already told me.
I got it.
I've
He
been
like, you
through the
already
same.
know. And that was
You
literally the
know.
sentence. It wasn't
Yeah.
no, this is it, this is that. It was a jar. You already know the answer. So
Right.
get up. And it
Get up.
was literally just that internal battle, that stress, that emotional uncertainty, that dysregulation we got going on that either we don't want to acknowledge or we don't feel is that big of a deal. Like it
Right.
cannot affect me like this, but it
Yeah.
did. And it was in that
Mm-hmm.
moment that ever since then, I prided myself on creating safe spaces. And I don't say that phrase anymore either because we're only as safe as we allow ourselves to be. If you're not
Right.
safe with you, you're not going to be safe with me. That's just,
Right.
and if you are, that tells me a lot as well. Because if you're not
Yeah.
safe with you and you want to tell me your life story, we got
Yeah.
to work on something. So for
Right.
me, it was in that moment that I made it my duty to ensure that everywhere I went, whatever it is that I did, I created a very loving and honest space. Because again, like you said, these spaces are needed. And it's really just encouraging ourselves to open our mouths and
Yes.
talk about it. Just
Right.
get it out, because once you
Yeah.
get it up and out of you, it allows you to exhale. And I love that you gave yourself permission to cry. You didn't need to pinpoint why. You didn't need to figure it out. You didn't need to go down your memory bank of whatever. It was like, okay, the tears are going. I'm gonna talk to God about it, but whatever happens, happens. I'm gonna just let my emotions be. And I feel like
Yeah.
that was a good moment that your body needed that. And I think that not only just as people, but I, in my opinion, because I can only speak as a woman because we're women, as women of color, we don't do that. We don't give
Yeah.
ourselves permission to listen to our body and understand what's going on and how it is really screaming to us what it needs, what it's
Yeah.
requiring, what's necessary. I had a moment like that too, where I woke up and I knew something wasn't okay. I sat on the bed for like an hour and a half in silence, and then I wept.
Mm-hmm.
What I wept for, child, still to this day, I don't even know. But it was
And
just
that's
like
all
I
right.
needed to, I just
That's
needed
all
to get
right.
it
Because
out.
Auntie
And that's
Dad tell
fine.
us that's your business.
And that's fine.
And that's fine.
That's my business. That's my
That's your
business.
business.
And I wish that other women gave themselves, even men, just give yourselves permission to feel
Yeah.
whatever it is. Because if you
You want to
don't,
feel.
now we have some other issues going. Now we have health
Right.
concerns. Now we
Mm-hmm.
are worried that our life is going to be cut short by the things that we allowed to really take us to a level that it didn't even need to. So I'm standing with
Yeah.
you in that, honey, about just taking control, taking charge, and just
Yeah.
doing a better job with ourselves, because
Absolutely.
this all we got.
That's all we
This all
got.
we
Listen, I made a post on Facebook, and I know it was a very facetious post. However, I was being really funny and I was being really serious. But I'm like, I like entered into my 30s and just became this big crybaby. Like, girl, what you crying for? Like, what are you crying for now? Actually, like, what? There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. What are you crying for? And
yeah,
I'm just like, you know what, Lord, I'm crying because I feel like I need to cry. I don't
and that's
know.
fine.
Listen, I take my showers and I be boohooing in there. Don't ask me why. I just do. But I come out feeling like a new person, and that's my business.
You just need a second. That's all
I
we
just need
need.
to purge sometimes. You know, maybe it's just the build up, and I just need to make room for. I don't know. It
I'm
happens.
telling you.
It
I'm
happens.
telling you.
Now, how do you prioritize self care and your mental well being, um, in your daily life?
It's gonna sound very strange, but I don't. I don't
Okay.
do a good job at it. And that's something literally right now that God and I are working on. So I am, and I don't know who else is, but shout out to those who have been freed from people pleasing. Because people pleasing, perfectionism, those were my identities. They
Mm,
were the ways in which I did a lot of things.
yeah.
And it benefited, of course, your pain benefits other people, then it benefits you. And so
Right.
I always carried the baggage of wanting to be liked by people, I always carried the baggage of wanting to not ruffle any feathers, have any
Yeah.
issues going on. So if I needed to exhaust myself so that me and Ashley Angelina could be good, I did
Right.
it every time. And I did it unconsciously. It
Right.
wasn't an active decision I had. It was just I wanted to show up, but I wanted to
Yeah.
show up so much that I exhausted myself in the process. So going through that whole thing in 2018, and then after that, I took a personal sabbatical. I took a personal sabbatical away from literally everything and everybody. Um, Going through that whole, COVID shutdown moment and really stepping into this, it was a reminder that what I do is exhausting.
Right.
Us having a platform like this, it takes out of you. And
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I judged myself a lot because I felt like, what you tired for? Like,
Yeah.
what did you do today that you needed to go take a
Right. That
nap?
you just so tired. Right.
What's the issue? Like, what productivity did we have to
Mm-hmm.
where we can now go do that? And so I clash. I've been clashing with myself probably for the last 2 years because I needed to really be honest and say, Ajay, working with DJJ, exhausting. After leaving that, going to do therapy, exhausting. And
Mm-hmm.
then having to figure out how I want to show up within my family, within my friends, within my relationships, within
And for
TJM
yourself.
that's on the side. And as you can see, me, it's still in the back of my language. I was in a coaching program, and we were creating a priorities list. And I created the priority list. She was like, write down the things that you want, like write down the order in which you want your priorities to be and the order in which you have priorities right now. And it wasn't until she was like, Ajay, there's something missing. And I'm like, girl, what are you
Right.
talking about? Like, I've been stressed
Like I
about
got it
this
all
thing.
here. I went over this thing.
And she's like, yeah, girl, you're not on the list. And I'm like, what are you
Oh.
talking about? And
Right.
I'm like, the list is the list. She's like, no, but you, me, the word me, Ajay,
Right.
is not on the list.
Right.
So where does she fit? And I'm like, okay, all right. And it's like, we can't say that we want to be the change in the world if we don't find a way to take care of ourselves. So I will be
Yeah.
honest and say, it's been a struggle to figure out where I fit in my own life. Working on strengthening my relationship with myself and self-trust and all of that good stuff. Now I'm in a place where I am so focused on identifying who God is in so many facets because there's so many versions of him, but
Right.
just identifying all of who he is because it's helped me to recognize that, okay, God, there's something that you know about me that I don't know about me.
Right.
If you keep me going in this fight, if you keep pulling me on platforms and in spaces and talking and running my mouth, like there's something that you know
Yeah.
about who I am. Help me
Right.
to see that. Because
Mm-hmm.
maybe if I see what you see, it'll help me to really prioritize the blessing of the temple that you've given me. So working on, like, I'm starting juicing tomorrow. I've been
Come on,
back in the
Juicy.
gym. Okay. Getting back in the gym. And really thinking to myself, what is a priority to me right now? And not being apologetic about it. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
finding my rhythm in it. I love a good prayer. I love a good devotional. I love a good sermon. I love a good Bible study. I just love to learn. So my October really has been the month for me to really get it together. But my October goal to myself was finish the book that I started on October 1st. So right now I'm reading The Gift of Imperfection by Dr. Brene Brown.
Please send it
Slaps.
to me.
Great book. Gladly will. Finishing that book, starting the book of Ezra, and just building a consistency with gym time. That's been my goal because I can be proud to say I just had a birthday in September, and
Happy
it was at
birthday.
that birthday. Thank you. It was at that time that I realized that I love prayer. I love
Mm-hmm.
worship,
Mm-hmm.
and I owe it to myself to make that time, not just for me, but for him. So I
Yeah.
can say that right now, my self-care has been on, if I'm sitting at my desk for too long, I'm getting jumbled. I get in my car, I either sit in my driveway or my church is like up the street. I will literally go into the church parking lot and sit and worship and pray. Or I will turn everything off in here. I'll just kind of take some time and then I'll reset. So I'm really, as I continue to build a self-care routine, I'm working on just practicing paying attention to myself. Because I think
Yeah.
that's the cheat code for me, at least. We
Hmm.
can add so many routines, add so many different things that we think would be beneficial, but I have to work on paying attention to what I need. Because yeah, I might need to eat some oatmeal today, but I really need to pray. Like it's really just
Right.
identifying what's going on in here and
Hmm.
then meeting that need at the time. So just
Right.
paying attention to me it's really been my self-care journey for right now. And so, juicing, gym time, finish my reading, all of that have been added bonuses, but just paying attention to what I need even at the smallest of times
Yeah.
is my goal right now.
Yeah. Well, let me
Mhm.
commend you on those things. Setting
Thank
your
you.
goals, crushing your goals, and definitely spending time with God. I want to say, I know you said that some places that you're working on is people pleasing. Um,
Mhm.
that was the area that I had to work on. Um, because like you, I was always worried, like, how is that gonna make a person feel? Why do they
Yes.
think da, da, da. What I've come to realize, Aja, is I am cut from different cloth. Okay. I wasn't meant to fit into no puzzle. I am, and I hate to say that I'm the black sheep, but I'm just not meant to fit in with the crowd. I'm not.
Correct.
It doesn't matter how hard I try. It doesn't matter. It doesn't work.
Yeah,
Um, and what I've realized is that's okay.
that's okay.
I've realized that people are gonna feel the way they feel.
Mhm.
You can do good, bad, or indifferent. They're gonna have something to say. They're gonna feel a way. Everybody's not gonna agree. You should have did it
Mhm.
this way. You could have did it that
Mhm.
way. I'm not doing it. And what I've realized is, like when I was younger, people would put me on these pedestals I didn't ask to be on. And then when I had a human moment,
You in my
when I had
business.
a moment of just being a human, oh, send us to the gates of hell because it's just like I'm human, and you have put all these expectations on me that I didn't ask for. That was your
Yeah.
and it's just always trying to live up to a perfection. I'm not doing that. I'm going
Yeah.
to live my life the best way I can that is pleasing to God because that's the only person I am. That's the only person I have a contract with. That's it. That's the only person. I need. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody else, oh well. Like
Exactly.
such is life. But I definitely commend you for that because I'm trying to get back onto the path of making sure that I am spending more time with God.
Yeah.
Um, I have started to be more purposeful when it comes to reading, not
Yeah.
just reading, understanding. I started doing Bible plans like on the Bible app.
Come
Love
on, Bible
those.
plan.
Yes. And then I use this method called the SOAP method. Right. So it's
Yes.
scripture, observation, application, and then prayer. Love it.
Mhm.
Right. But with that, that's me spending time with God, and I enjoy that time. I enjoy
Yes.
my morning worships when I'm on my way to work. And that's not to say that I'm perfect because I'm not.
For
You know,
sure.
I have my shortcomings, and like I said,
Mhm.
this week was hard. Last week,
Mhm.
I'm just gonna say, um, Jesus wasn't anything. I was operating my flesh, and just a coworker came to me the wrong way, and I just want you to know anything I said was not of God. Enough for me to be sent to the principal's office.
It happens,
When
honey.
we
It
got
happens.
to the principal's office, I still didn't have godly words to say.
Yeah.
Then I was then escorted out.
Woo.
So it got a little heated. That's why I said my week was a
Uh-huh.
little.
That's
And
all
my
right.
thing with stuff like that is I don't like to be that person, right? And I
Mhm.
don't like to give people that power over me where I'm getting to that place because I've worked really hard to work past that.
Yeah.
But I had a moment, sis, and listen, I had it. I prayed about it, and Jesus forgave me. And I just
It
asked,
was
Lord,
grace.
like your child, and you know what I can take and can't take. That was a bit much.
Yeah, Lord.
I was already hanging on by a thread, and they just came with their scissors and cut that thing, so I didn't have a
Yep.
choice.
Yep.
So, but like you said, just being more purposeful with your time, and
Yes.
being okay with stillness, being okay with quietness and nothingness.
Mm.
Um, I can sit in my room with nothing on, like you, and just be all right. Like there's no
And some
phone or
people
nothing.
can't do that.
I'm good. Like I don't need the
Yeah.
extra nothing. I'm like I'm so okay. Or I can
Yeah.
go sit by the water and just be there. I don't need conversation. I don't need Facebook. I don't need Instagram. I
Yep.
can just, I can do that, and I'm learning to appreciate quietness,
Yeah.
and just nothingness, to just not only hear my thoughts, but to spend time with God to hear
For
Him.
sure.
Um, and because I want this platform to go far, I don't just want it to be just your average podcast. And I know some people just say, I have podcasts, have it. My purpose for this podcast is truly and really to help others who are
For
struggling the
sure.
way I struggled, just to be that person I wish I had in that moment. Um, so, my prayer for this podcast is just that it touches those that need to touch, it goes where it needs to go,
Absolutely.
that it places me in rooms that will help grow this brand, gives me connections. So not just my brand will grow, so we can merge and
Mhm.
grow brands. But ultimately, I am thankful.
Yeah.
And I say to you, just don't worry about people, because
Yeah.
people are gonna be people,
Every
and unfortunately,
time.
we have no control over how a person views us, or because sometimes what your best is not always enough for people.
For sure.
It's okay. And sometimes people operate so in misery so much, they want you to reside there. But
Yeah.
that's not, what you were called to do. So listen, when it comes to people, hey,
Let the people be people, honey.
let it
Let's
be
let,
and do what you were
let the
called to
people
do.
be people. And it's funny you say that because I've been working on that, just identifying what's enough for me. Like
Right,
what is, I don't want to say good enough, but what's enough? What is it that I can do? And the thing that keeps me grounded is constantly reminding myself that God made the world in 6 days. Not
right,
just the world, but He made everything in 6 days and rested
right,
on the seventh. And
right.
literally every single day, it was just enough.
Yeah,
Let there be light, and it was good.
that was it.
Day
He ain't said
two,
let it be like and wind and some water and let the pigs run. He said all that. Just let it be like.
let there be light, and it was good.
Mm-hmm,
Moving on to the next day. And it's
mm-hmm,
like, God, help me to get to that place where I'm not so worried. Because and as you can see, we jump from that internal thing
mm-hmm.
of feeling it all in here to now we're
Right.
overworking the mind now I'm
Yeah.
overthinking everything. I'm stressed out in
Mm-hmm,
my brain. I can't even take a second to hear and think clearly because I'm so busy putting things together, trying to figure out how I could put this within those hours and this and this. And it's just like, help me to just do what's enough for
right.
me, for
Right.
whatever you have me on, because there's no platform, there's no Black Bold and Beautiful without Ashley Angelina. There's no
Right.
TGM without a job. And I
Right.
made that vow to God a long time ago. Like I refuse to let somebody else do my purpose. I
Right.
refuse to let somebody else be trusted with what you've already trusted me with. So whatever
Right.
I got to do to get in line and get in position, I'm going
I'm
to
doing
do it because I want to see
it. Hmm.
what it is that you know, what it is that you're
Right.
seeing for me, what it is that you're excited about. Like, I want to know that, God. So I'm grateful for just even that affirmation from you and just knowing that, it's something that a lot of people are stepping out of, and we're taking the bold, step nowadays to just say, okay, I'm over thinking about how this benefits you, how it
Right.
makes you feel, what you got to say about it.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm just gonna do what it is that I
I'm
got
just
to
gonna
do.
because it's a your problem. It's not a my problem. So hey,
That's it.
you
It's a
have an
reflection of
issue.
you, not of me.
You have an
Mm-mm.
issue with me or how I did something. That's a your problem. It's not a me
That's it.
problem. So why would I lose sleep over it? If you, that's your problem. Take it up with Jesus. Has nothing to do with me. It's not my problem.
Get in
It's
line,
not my
boo,
problem.
because I'm good. I'm good. So shout out to the
Listen,
people who are like us are finally
like,
getting it back in their bag to
yeah,
understand
yeah,
we are it. That is it. And it's just accepting who God called us to be. And for you, I know it was taking that position to say, no, I'm gonna do what I need to do. For me, I had to accept, like, okay, I had a very tough time with responsibility. Responsibility and discipline are the words that I never liked because, like you, people put me on pedestals,
mhm,
people gave me responsibilities and assignments and just all these different things.
mhm,
And now being in this position, it's like, okay, God, if I'm unlearning all of that, help me to have a new relationship with
Right.
responsibility, help me to have a new relationship with leadership. And it's
Mhm.
just, okay, if God has called me to this, He gonna show me how to do it. I'm not
Right.
even going, I'm not letting y'all dictate and tell me how it's supposed to be. If God
Listen,
decides for me to do this, He gonna give me the instructions and I'm gonna wait on it. Until then,
let me tell you something. Let me tell you
you
something, Jeff. Let me tell you something.
I told you in my business. I told you.
Let me tell you something. So, about a month or so ago, I was in my car in the back seat, clear as day. You know, when Jesus talking to you, it'd be clear as day.
Yeah.
And so, I was stressing about some stuff. I was stressed about. I ain't had no business stressing about it now. Nothing, because I ain't had no control over it. It was not my business.
Right.
Sometimes Jesus' business, we be all up in that thing. It had nothing to do with it.
Woo! Hands in it. Just
And so, I think it could have been. I think my husband and I were probably at odds. Kids acting crazy. You know, just the stuff that's some true heart pickers.
yeah.
And so I'm like, Lord, I don't know. Like, I don't know, Jesus. Like, I don't know. Clear as day. He said, if I brought you to it,
Huh.
I'm going to provide you with the tools to get through it. And my friend called me, and she was talking. We were just talking about marriage and whatever. And she was like, being she was not that she was having marital problems. She was just saying being a wife, it is hard. And I said
Yes.
it definitely is. I said it is, because you go from worrying about you to worrying about a whole nother human,
Whew.
right? So I was just and I told her that I said, I'm just going to give you something that God gave me, which is if I brought you to it, I have given you the tools to get through it. She's like, I really need that. And that's just something that
Yeah.
I just kept in the back of my head when I get to the tough moment. Um,
Yeah.
because listen, some moments I just be want to give up, and I know it looks good on the outside, like, oh, you do this, you do that. Yeah, but I couldn't tell you where I get the energy from. I
Mm.
don't know how I function half the time. I just do what I gotta do and try to get that done and just
You don't
and
know what it costs me.
yeah,
This costs something. Like,
yeah,
and I tell people that all the time, don't look and admire. And that's something even as a single woman had to really understand. Like, don't be looking at people wedding rings and their marriages and all of these different things, because there is a grace. There's a grace
hmm
that you have specifically
right,
for your husband and for
right,
your children that is
hmm
not the same grace that somebody else has. And
right,
so it's just understanding that this costs me something, but I'm graced for this. So
right,
I'm gonna be honest and vulnerable and say it's
hmm
difficult and say it's
hmm
hard. Trust me, as a single
right.
woman, honey, we appreciate the married women as y'all are telling us it is difficult. Thank
It
you.
is,
Please tell me that it is hard. Don't try to
it is.
sugarcoat for me.
I
Don't
want you
make
to
it
think
sound
it's no Disney fairy tale.
yeah, don't paint me a pretty picture. And that's literally the basis of my platform. I feel like we've been painted so many pretty pictures about a lot of things, even just as simple as listening to God,
Yeah,
surrendering to God. People make it sound like, yeah, you're gonna receive a word. Yeah, we receive a word, but we're gonna also receive correction.
yeah,
We're gonna always get God telling us, get your hands out of my business.
right,
I'm gonna tell you what you need to know when you need to know it.
right,
Until then,
uh-huh,
do what I told you last time. Like,
right.
we need to hear the difficult parts of it. But at the end of the day, honey, you're graced for all that's in your hands. And
hmm
if God decides for you to let it go, He will give you that insight. He will let you know,
right,
okay, sis, we don't have to let this one go. This got to
hmm
get deleted.
hmm
But you're graced for it. You
yeah,
are graced for it. And I'm grateful that God does provide us with the grace and the tools and the resources, because I too have wanted to throw all of it. But then it's the reality that this is bigger than us.
it is.
And it's just knowing that, okay, God, and I think that's my saving grace as well. Getting
Yeah,
into that place where I'm honest with him about it. And then
hmm
also thinking, you could have gave this to anybody.
anybody, hmm
And you gave it to
anybody,
me.
right,
And you gave it to
right,
me.
right.
Bet.
Listen, I
All right.
told, um, I was in a moment where I was just like, when it came to this podcast, because originally this podcast was not catered to mental health. It was just for the Black community, no matter
Yeah.
what facet you functioned in, just Black excellence. And then I started to merge over to mental health. So I had stopped doing the podcast for a little while. Because I'm
Mhm.
gonna be honest, I felt like it was pointless. I didn't feel like I was reaching nobody. I felt like I was just kind of talking to myself type thing. And I'm like, Lord, I mean, I don't really know what we're doing here. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm out here struggling to get interviews.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I tried to have a co-host or two, that didn't work.
Mm.
He's just like, who said you need a co-host? That was your thing. You chose to have co-host. It wasn't what I told you to do. That's what you chose to do,
Ah,
which is why it didn't work out.
Jesus.
And so I was really at like giving up, like, Jesus, I'm sorry, I just can't. Like,
Mhm.
I want to spread my story. I want to help others who are struggling. I want to be an advocate for mental health. I want to do these things, but I just don't feel like I'm reaching nobody.
Yeah.
That that very week, he had two people reach out to me. He had an older lady reach out to me. She's probably like late 50s, early 60s. And then a young lady who is like in my age group reached out to me. And both of them reached out to me um, based on them being, depressed and them dealing with certain things. And
Mhm.
like, how did you do this? How do you do that? Da, da, da. And I'm like, Lord, I see you because you got a sense of humor. Because
Every
these
time.
people have been my friend 1100 years. I've seen me post 100 times my mental health and my depression and my anxiety and how I'm getting through it and all this. They done been on it. And they was
Mhm.
on there when I lost my mama. They was on there when I was going through dealing with losing my mama.
Yep.
And the days that I say you got all these people on, not everybody need counseling, that's crazy to me. But needless to say, here we are. We didn't quit. We right here.
We
We
still
right here.
fighting.
Still fighting.
We
Still
still
fighting.
fighting.
Now, are there specific cultural or societal pressures that you feel impact your mental health as a Black woman?
Ooh. Cultural or societal pressures. Um, Culturally, I believe that there is a misunderstanding
Mm.
about the success of a Black woman and the vulnerability of a Black
Okay.
woman. Sometimes I feel like certain spaces they can't be synonymous
Okay.
when they really are. Um, Society wise, I believe now that there, from what I'm seeing in my perspective, that there's a demand for Black women now. Um, but most times it's at the expense of us, is at the cost of us. But I think my biggest thing is culturally. I can say I've been graced to not have as many external difficulties as a Black woman. If I can speak on behalf of my sister, um, she works at the White House, and as you probably can
Oh, White House
expect, there is
employee?
a honey.
Come
Yes,
on.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And sister's in her bag and doing her thing. But you can imagine the societal barriers, the societal expectations that are in that space. But in my perspective, I think it's culturally. And unfortunately, I think it's us against us, man.
Well, if you're gonna talk about it, let's
It's
do it. If we're
it's
gonna
us
talk about
against us.
it, and that's
Because
just what it is.
I if I gotta put my foot in the water, I'm gonna go ahead and step into it.
Put the
But
whole thing in it, all the way to your ankle,
and I'm gonna step in proudly.
and
I
do it.
believe that there isn't much, and I'm with soft life.
Hmm.
I'm with us choosing to step out of this superwoman, supernova type of mentality that we've always been in, where we got
Right,
to save everybody and everything. Um, and yet it's like, okay, y'all, you don't want us to be super hard, super independent,
right,
yet we don't know any other way.
right,
So culturally, amongst family, within relationships, within friendships, I believe there's this disconnect or this uncertainty about how I can handle a strong, well-renowned, well-developed, well-rounded Black woman,
right,
while also being able to make room for the emotions that come with that.
right.
And so I speak for myself when I say I am the strong friend. I
Hmm.
am the put together friend. Um, if I gotta out myself, I used to be the Molly, not last 2 seasons Molly. Now she was on something else, but like
Okay,
beginning stages of insecure Molly, who was just the friend that kind of had the answers. Like,
Right.
she the wise one. Like, I can tell you what to do to get your life together. Like,
Right.
that used to be me until I had to really make room to realize I don't want to be like that all the time.
Right.
I want to be able to ask a question and not know.
Right.
I want to be uncertain about something. I want
Mhm.
to learn something. I want to have a moment where I'm sitting and I'm crying and I don't know why I'm crying, and that's
Right.
okay
And that's
because I'm
okay.
making room for it. I
Mhm.
think that there's a difficulty with us making room for each other because I think so many times we have this idea of showing up and showing up well.
Right.
Just stuff is, the shirts and everything is put where it's supposed to be. The purse match outfit. We giving looks. We just all of that. Yet I don't
You're
really
raggedy.
know. No, yeah, I don't
You're
know if we know
raggedy.
how to
And
be.
inside.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and so I think that creating a world where, well, when we have to do it ourselves, we first have to go ahead and experience what our emotions and vulnerability looks like for us, and then be able to dictate what it will look like for other people. But I
Right.
think personally, from what I've seen and what I'm working to assist in changing or shifting at least, is this idea that if I'm around other Black women, that I have to be like, I need to be bringing you somewhere. I need to be connecting you to certain places. I need to be taking you up to the next level with me rather than it just being, you have a platform, I have a platform. I just kind of want to talk to you about it being kind of hard. Do you
Right.
mind we talk about the hard part? I don't
Right.
really see that often. It's just like we got to connect to do this and do this and do that. Or it kind of feeling like you're trying to one up the other person,
Yeah.
or just how do I fit, like how do strong Black women fit together, like how
Mhm.
do you have a large friend group where there's like everybody who's on their stuff. It's just kind of weird, and I might be all over the place when I say all of these things, but
No,
I
you're
think
fine.
for me it's been more societal, I mean more cultural than it is societal, but I think
Mhm.
it happens out there as well, where people don't know what to do when they see a great Black woman who's done the work be vulnerable, be honest, be emotional, be transparent about whatever it is that they're going through and how that will look even as friends and even just in romantic relationships. Because honestly, there's been a lot of people who've been wondering why I'm single. And I feel like for me, the phrase is intimidation, and that could go into just romantic spaces, that can go in the business world, that can go into friendships, whatever the case may be. But I'm a Black woman that's done the work. I'm a Black
Yeah.
woman that is still working, and I'm a Black woman that desires to be vulnerable. But I don't know if there are a lot of spaces or enough spaces where both can exist at the same
It exists.
time,
Yeah.
and it's okay.
Yeah.
But that's what I would say. This idea that Black women are super strong and super put together and have all of the answers, that we don't get help. We don't
Right.
we don't get recognized for the times we need to take a break. We don't get acknowledged for the moments where we may not look okay and people give us permission to not be okay.
Right.
All of our emotions are not, they're not one and the same. It has to be one or the other. You either going to be super strong or super weak. Pick
Right.
one.
Right.
And it's like, well, that's okay. If
Right.
that's all you're giving me, that's fine. But from my perspective, that's what I've seen. But I'm interested to see what you've seen.
I think that I would have to definitely go with cultural as well.
Yeah.
Um, and like you, I think I have to put my foot in the water with you.
Go ahead,
Because
honey.
we got to go out here with these sharks. Um, I would say, I think personally that we live in a crab in a bucket mentality. To be honest.
Yeah. Yes.
I feel as though there's so many cliques when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to women.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I'm not a woman that, say I'm not a woman that, cares too much about the name brands, or
Yeah.
it cares too much about um getting, extensions, or,
Mm-hmm.
say I'm a woman who's more so on the natural side. I
Right.
don't really care about the labels. But then you have this crew that has this bougie mentality, right?
Yes.
I just don't know why those two women can't get along.
Yeah.
Because ultimately we share the same struggles. No matter how far you are from me,
Mm-hmm.
at the bottom of it, we
Mm-hmm.
all share the same struggle. And granted, your struggle may be a little less of a struggle than mine, or mine may be a little more than yours.
Yeah.
Um, you come from a two-parent home. I can come from a one-parent. My parents could be, college graduates. Yours could only have graduated from high school. But when do we start supporting each other more than we are against each other?
Yeah.
Like, at what point when your friend is still on the, or has to step a little further into this water, on the ratchetness,
Uh-huh.
um, that you step in as a friend and say, you know what, Ashley, we're not doing that. We're over that.
Yeah.
We are above that. We got to figure something else out. But we're not about to be out here fighting like some of the hoodlums and
Because
have
the
everybody
next phrase
around
comes
us.
into, oh, you
Yeah,
think you better than me?
right, right. But why does it have to be that? Why can't it just be you? Why is it that the mentality is, oh, she thinks she's better than me, opposed to, oh, my friend is looking at me for me because she loves me, or because she wants to see me do better, or
Mm-hmm.
because she holds me to a higher standard.
Mm-hmm.
Because we not gonna go out to dinner and you see somebody you have a problem with, and I'm gonna record you fight. No, we're not doing that. We have a purpose that we're trying to meet,
Okay.
and with that, we have people looking at us, whether we believe it or not, whether we see it or not, whether the numbers on social media show it or not. We are under a radar, and I'm
For
not
sure.
gonna let you fail and take 30 steps back when you've already had to take so many steps forward. We're not doing that.
Yep.
Now, if me correcting your behavior is you thinking that I think I'm better than you, we're running the wrong circle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
So
I
I
think
think
that's the
it's us
answer.
against us. It
Mm-hmm.
is. It is truly us against us.
And even
Because
us against ourselves.
yeah. Because I can honestly say that we my husband and I are out and I see a lady who looks nice, smells nice,
Mhm.
like her hair, like, baby, you is body in the outfit. I'm gonna tell you, you cute. I've seen someone at mom. So one of my cousins' wives, well, he only has one wife, but one of my male cousins, his wife. Let me straighten that out. Um, she had on a nice jacket and she had some like ones on with these jeans, and I'm like, baby, you is cute. Like, I
Mhm.
like that outfit. Where did you get it from? I don't have a problem giving you a compliment because I don't. It's not like I don't see you as a competition because I feel like I'm better than you, but it's not a competition.
For sure.
I feel like I can look at one of my sisters and say, "You look good. You
And if
rocking that
nobody
hair."
told you, I'm gonna tell you.
I'm gonna tell you. And like, I seen an
Mhm.
older lady. She works at me. I work at a middle school, and I see her all the time around campus. And she's just one of them older women that just kind of glide with elegance. You know what I'm saying? Like a
Yeah.
Claire Huxtable in real life.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And she's walking. She had her little scarf thrown across her shoulder, and she
Oh,
went
we
to
love them.
session across the campus. And I said, I just need you to know that I love your elegance. I love
Yes.
everything about it. And she looked at me and said, "Thank you, darling." I said, "You are so welcome." I said, "Because it's not one day that you come here with elegance. It's not every day I see you. You are the epitome of elegance and who
So much
I
love.
would want to present myself as.
Mhm.
So I commend you for holding it together."
For
I
sure.
don't know what it did for her day, but for mine, it made it because I was able to uplift her and let her know, listen, I don't talk to you often, but I see you.
Yes.
But why is that hard? Why is that a hard conversation to have?
And I think that goes into outside of us versus us, so women against women. It goes into a me versus me type of
Mm-hmm,
situation because
mm-hmm,
oftentimes we are a reflection of ourselves, or people
right.
are a reflection of ourselves.
Mm-hmm,
And so the question is a great question of why is it that it has to be me being better than you to want more for you? The
Right.
question under that is, why does it have to be a bad thing for me to be pulled to another level?
Yeah.
What is it about me that I don't want to be held? Because that's the thing. Sometimes people don't want to be held accountable. They don't want to
Mhm.
be held to a different standard. They don't want to do more than what they already are doing. And
Right.
so it goes into asking ourselves, okay, what type of people do I want around me? Do I
Yeah.
want female friends? And I cringe and I resonate with the people who say that they don't like to hear when people say, well, I don't really like women. Okay, something there. There was something there that caused you to be able to want to say that out loud, because that
Right.
doesn't sound refreshing. That doesn't
Right.
sound like a very loving lifestyle if you've had so many experiences to where, no, I'm straight, I don't want to deal with women.
But what we got to realize is if you having the same problem, the only common denominator in it is you. Is what I'm saying. Like that's where accountability comes in at. Like I realized in my marriage that I was raggedy in some parts. And I was able to admit that. Ragglyism ain't gonna see, girl. It had a nerve to
Oh
have an attitude. Girl, you need to check yourself. Cause you
Lord.
wrong. You know, I had to sit myself down and
Yeah.
get myself together and
Yeah.
realize you have to stop faulting people for your mess. That's your mess. They ain't got nothing to do with them people. That's
And
you.
until we do that, we will not have quality connections.
Yeah.
Until we can do this and even vulnerably say, I've done this, I've done that, I was raggedy, I was messed up, I was a wretched friend, I was a know-it-all friend. Like, until we can own our experiences and our truths, we can't do that. And then maybe it's also the idea that maybe I don't feel like I'm worthy enough to even be connected to great women like this or
Right.
women like this. And it's like, I don't want other women to feel like that either, because
Right.
it doesn't
That's not what it's
matter.
about. Yeah.
Right. It doesn't matter about what you think you're not bringing to the table, what you are bringing to the table. The reality is, like, I could need something from you that has nothing to do with what you see in anything. It may not be
Right.
connected to platforms. It may not be connected to nothing else, but we just connect because you like going to the beach. I like going to the beach. We go to the beach every Wednesday. And that's how we
Right.
show up for each other. I think that as women, we limit how we can show up. We limit how we can be present. We limit how we can just have those loving connections. And it's funny, and I'm gonna have to out my friends. They are very territorial when it comes to me. Like, I
I am
mean,
territorial. I am
if they
territorial.
could claw down or create a application, they
Uh-huh.
would.
Uh-huh.
And I understand, simply because they are grateful for the bond that we have, and they don't want
Right.
everybody to think that Ajay is who she is. But
Yeah.
don't think that just because y'all had one conversation on a Tuesday that you finna get all the best of her. No.
Right. Yeah.
And at the same time, I've also been working to help them realize that keeping me to yourself limits you from experiencing whoever else is connected to me. So now
Right.
my friends are friends. Like, they intermingling, and I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, y'all forgetting me in the process.
Right. What
Y'all
about
invite me
me?
to talk on Tuesday. Right. What's
Right.
going on? But I love it because you get to experience people in different ways without this barrier to think, okay, well, what is it that I have to offer? How can I
Hmm.
be connected to them? Or what is it that you have to offer me? Why you want to be my friend? How we gonna be
Right.
connected? Like, it don't gotta be all of that. You got mommy friends, you
Right.
got wife friends, you
Hmm.
got business friends. There are friends for everything. And I think that we really just have to get out of this place of just trying to figure out, okay, well, what are you bringing? What,
Yeah.
like kind of just giving like an interview process to being connected with people. It don't
Yeah.
gotta take all of that. Your discernment gonna tell you all you need to know.
Listen.
It's gonna
Listen.
tell you.
In my circle, I can say it has gotten it. My circle is shrinking,
Yeah,
and I think not think I know that it's shrinking because I am growing, and this version of me can't reside there anymore. Right.
absolutely.
Um. and I've had a my ex best friend
Mm-hmm.
reach out and wanted to know why we were where we at, da da da. And my thing is, if you can't be accountable,
Mm.
because for me, a sorry goes, I'm sorry, a heartfelt apology goes a long way with me.
For sure.
Um, my mom has been gone for almost 3 years, and
Mm.
granted, at the time we weren't talking, but I don't care if you and I have been friends since we were little, and we stopped talking, and something was to happen to your parents, I'm calling you. I know we
Calling.
not,
Calling.
but how you holding up? What can I do to that? I didn't get one of those. But
Mm.
for me, that was the end of possibilities. Because if you
Yeah.
can't be there for me in the most important, like the most traumatic time, what are we doing?
Do you
When
think
I
that she felt like she could be there for you? Sorry to cut you off. A question.
no, it's fine. Um, and it, I feel like, yeah, I feel like she could have. I
Okay.
feel like there was no reason for her to feel like she couldn't have,
Got
because
it.
it wasn't like we ended on bad terms. We just stopped talking. Because my thing is, when it comes to reaching out, I understand you don't talk to people every day, definitely friends, however life.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm constantly reaching out to you and I'm not returned, I have a problem with that.
100%.
I have a problem with that. When I'm being more of your friend than you are being to me,
Ooh.
I have a problem with that. So it's shrinking because I am now at a point where it's quality over quantity. So that means I only got two good friends with great qualities. Sounds
I'll
good.
take them. I'll take them.
Sounds good. Opposed to 10 people who just as regular as mango seed, don't offer nothing, don't bring nothing. I can't give the, it's just, and we ain't going nowhere. We there stagnant. We
Mm-hmm.
ain't going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
There's no point.
Mm-hmm.
There's no point.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
And
why
that takes maturity.
yeah, I found a contentment in just my circle shrinking,
Yeah.
and that's okay because I know that I am elevating to a new version of Ashley, and I'm already trying to figure that out, right? Figure
Yes.
out, in that out, and how that goes.
Yes.
I don't have I don't have time to figure out if what your intentions are with me and how loyal you are to me. I don't have time for that.
Absolutely. And God will bring those people. And that's actually funny because at the conversation party for men, one of them asked that, and he was just like, the transition and friends and different things. And I'm like, it was hard for me. Again, that I I idolized friendship. I felt like it gave me purpose and being connected to people and just being a quality person, in addition to people pleasing, and that just intermingled together. You could just tell how that was a disaster.
Yeah,
But I got to a place like you to where it was like, okay, if God is removed, and he had to snatch because he knew I wasn't going to leave. I know
right,
you're not going to leave these people. So I'm going to take them. And so
right.
friendships falling by the wayside. And I got to a place where I'm like, okay, God, if you're taking me in a different direction in different places and spaces, give me the people that I need to be able to lean on. And that was what I had to tell him as well. It was the reality that God never takes away anything that he can't replace, and not only
Listen,
just replace, but with better.
y'all,
I
you
don't
better
want you
believe.
just to have business friends. I need you to have great business friends who got
Well,
resources. Like,
well,
it's more to this. And I think that, and that's a gift for women as well. It's okay to transition, it's okay to evolve. And it's
mm-hmm,
also a beautiful thing to know that if I desire friends, I can
mm-hmm,
pray for that. You can pray for friends. You can pray for quality friendships. You can pray for mommy friends, wife friends, business friends, just something. You can pray for them. Get a vision, get a template, whatever it is that you need, and pray to God about your friends. And it's just knowing like, okay, God is going to gift me. That's my favorite word to use. He's going to gift me with quality people. And so I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you are
yeah,
in a place where you are content with your quality circle rather than a quantity, because I think that's something that we lose as people as well. We want to be connected to so many different people. But
yeah.
why?
But why?
Knowing that
It just
there's
take
no
a
crossing. Mm-hmm.
yeah. It just take a
Knowing.
And
I love to do it.
one thing I always want, my friends to know is, because for me, a friendship is a very important thing, right? And I
Yes.
know some people take those things lightly. I'm not one of them friends. When I
Yes.
say I'm your friend, I'm loyal, and you're my friend. I love you wholeheartedly, and
Yeah.
ain't nothing. My friends know if it go left, call her because she
Mm-hmm.
coming, baby. That Kia
Mm-hmm.
Optima gonna be on one wheel. She don't care what time on a mog shot.
Having a
Y'all get that
blast.
bail money because I'm here. But those are my friends because I feel like they are going to give me, they have only proven to me that they're going to give me the same thing in return. And
Yes.
so what I wanted to say is, even if you feel like you don't have something to bring to the table, if we're eating, I don't care if you just brought the fork that we eating with, or you just pulled up a chair for yourself because that might be all you can give me in this season. That's
In
fine
this
because guess
season.
what? In one of my seasons, I'm only gonna be able to pull up a chair too.
Yeah.
But does that mean I don't get to eat? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Pull up your chair, and if you ain't got a chair, baby, I can scoot over. We can try to get these tips
Mm-hmm.
together. But we
Mm-hmm.
here together.
We're here together. We're here
We here
together.
together.
Don't put me on it. I think that's something that I've experienced as well. People putting me on a pedestal, and it interferes with me being able to show up how
Hmm.
I feel I'm guided to show up. And it
Right.
also inhibits you from experiencing the version of me that you just need. If you
Right.
think, okay, if I'm friends with Ashley and she always got, the greatest answers, and so she don't give me a good answer, that's it.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't
Hmm.
dictate or that doesn't define the relationship. Right now,
Right.
if Ashley don't have an answer for me, that allows us to even deepen our bond to where she says, I don't know. I say, I
Hmm.
don't know. Boom, we in this thing together to figure it out.
Right.
I think we have so many barriers and restrictions and just so many just different things that interfere with the organic and authentic way of developing quality, healthy, fun female friendships.
Hmm.
And it just starts
Hmm.
with a conversation.
Absolutely.
Start with a conversation.
And
That's it.
what we have to do as well is start placing boundaries around ourselves, right?
Oh God, I hate that
Not
word.
being so easily accessible to people.
Whew.
Um, because I know I'm probably all up in your business, but it's okay. um, but stop being so accessible to people, because I realized that it's so easy to lose yourself in trying to help others find themselves,
Yes.
and I'm just not willing no more.
And then the
I'm not
resentment builds when you don't feel like they're appreciative of what they
appreciative of
should be
me
appreciative
losing
of.
myself to help you find you. Like, you don't see it at night. I'm crying, can't sleep, tossing and turning, like, look, because, and that's why I say I'm just okay with my circles shrinking. Because
Yes.
if you are my friend and you come and tell me that you're dealing with XYZ, that's my problem now.
Yeah.
Understand that I'm up praying for you. I'm up worrying, like, Lord, I don't know how we're gonna do this thing. I don't know,
Hmm.
Jesus. I need you to work it out. I don't know all of it. I don't know, Jesus, but we trust in you. Like, that's the
Yeah.
type of friend I am. And it's not on purpose. It's just, I'm gonna stress when my friends are stressing. If you stressing about it, me
Hmm.
too. We gotta figure something out.
Hmm.
But I can't allow everybody, because imagine me allowing everybody to have access to that.
Oh God. And it's
Not
really what saved me from that was telling myself nobody asked you. Nobody asked you a job.
Yeah.
Nobody asked you to do this and that and this and that and this and that. Nobody asked you. And that has been saving me as I redefine my priorities. I had to also realize I'm putting friendship further down the priority list than I ever have before.
Hmm.
And it's
Hmm.
knowing that I'm content in the ways that I have shown up
Right.
already. And
Right.
I'm being honest about what it is that I can do in this season of my life.
Right.
And that word, accessible, accessibility, that has been a great mirror to reflect to me where some of my growing pains have been. And
Right.
not to say I caused it, but there were things that I had done, including not having boundaries, that attributed it to certain pains that I had to kind of walk through, but it's recognized you had value and you know what type of friend you are. And in
Right.
knowing what type of friend you are, you already know I can't give this to everybody. They don't deserve it. They're not going to appreciate it. They're not going to reciprocate it. I have to be mindful. And that's also something when you step out of people pleasing and you work to really understand who you are, that has to be built. That confidence and value in yourself. I had to really accept a job. You are not an average friend. What you
Right.
give to people, what you do for them cannot be replicated. It's not going to be something that everybody and their mama can get. So, a baby, pull it back. Pull it back and
VIP
be
extra
mindful.
zone.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes.
I
Yes. And
mean,
it's knowing that I can do what I can in this season in this type of way, yet also recognizing I'm a bomb individual and
yeah.
I have to be mindful of who I allow to experience that. I'm done. My life has been gotten today.
If you want to
And I can't believe you.
pass around the offering tray, we can do that.
I mean, the doors of the church have already been open a
Have
long
already
time
been,
ago.
they've already been open. They've already been open.
Wow.
Now, are there any
Ooh.
Oh, Jesus Christ. This is definitely all right. I just want
Yeah.
you to know that my life has been gotten just as well as yours. Um, but how do you feel about the representation of Black women in the media and its impact on self esteem and mental health?
Oh. And when we say media, what are you referring to?
When I say media, I speak of Facebook, Instagram,
Mhm.
Twitter, TikTok, um, YouTube, World Star, all those things.
It's the world star. Um, Ask me that one more time,
All
please.
right. Um, how do you feel about the representation of Black women in the media and its impact on self esteem and mental health?
Before, I would say I would be worried. Um, and honestly, well, I'm gonna scale it back. I am excited about the authenticity that exists in media now. The postpartum conversations, the
Mm,
PCOS conversations,
yes.
the divorce conversations, the rainbow mom conversations, the single and I don't know what to do with myself conversations, the I just had a baby and I don't know what to do with this body of mine conversations. I am appreciative of there being more spaces and places where people have the opportunity to step out of what we used to be so focused on, which is the outer,
Hmm.
and really add some just authenticity to that. Like we're on platforms and we're talking about great things, yet also talking about pain points, also talking about barriers, also talking about vulnerability. And so I'm grateful for the lane that has been created in being honest, in being authentic, in being transparent, in shedding light on things that nobody wanted to talk about before
Right.
and people are being courageous enough to talk about now. If you are not aware of who you are, what you bring to the world, what makes you unique, what makes you beautiful, looking at social media will impact your self-esteem in the most negative fashion
Yeah.
because social media is constantly evolving. And yes,
Hmm.
we're constantly evolving, but it'll make you feel like you're never good enough because when you finally get to the place that society deems to be okay, it switches.
Yeah.
It's out of the norm again. And
Hmm.
so I think that while there is authenticity, and not to say that there's a lot of people who are authentically themselves it just doesn't align with who we are.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like I'm cool. There's no judgment in it. That's just not my lane.
Yeah.
But if that is where somebody feels, excuse me, seen or heard, by all means, I do think there will always be a lane within social media that is perfectionism, that's putting on.
Yeah.
I believe that doing your own personal work helps you to have the discernment to know that space doesn't feel like there's a healthy connection in there. Like that
Right.
still feels like I gotta be something I'm not. So let me not even sign up for that.
Yeah.
But I would encourage people to really, if you know that you get on social media and you scroll and comparison starts to come to the forefront,
Ooh,
you get
child.
on social media and you start to question who you are and how you are,
Yes.
baby, delete the app, shut down a profile for a minute because there's work to do. Because what I do now, one, I am working to rebuild my relationship with social media just because now I'm looking at it from a business perspective than
Right.
just a place to express myself. But in that, it's realizing that the algorithm is a real thing, in my
Yeah.
opinion, not necessarily business wise, but the algorithm shows me what you constantly look at.
Yeah.
Your explore page tells
Mhm.
on you.
Mhm.
It literally will show you, it's going to keep popping up things that you're constantly digesting. And so if
Right.
you're constantly digesting conspiracy theories, ratchet shows, fights down on World Star, a few inspirational quotes, it's going to show up and that will
Yeah.
tell me all of what you're consuming. We
Right.
have to be mindful of what we are putting in our ear gates and our eye gates. Because
Mhm.
again, what you see is planting a seed in the mind, and
Yeah.
that's also planting a seed in your imagination. So
Mm.
we have to just be mindful about what we're constantly looking at. Child, if I open my tour page, it's Black love, it's affirmation, it's Sarah Jakes all up on the explore page, honey. It's
We
just
love her.
okay, sussing.
Huh.
And it's just it shows you what you're allowing to pour into you. If I want to get on social media and start scrolling, I'm gonna at least go past 4 pages that have as inspirational quotes and affirmations because
Mhm.
that's the content that I want to see. But if
Right.
you're not mindful of that, and maybe people don't feel like they have a choice, maybe don't feel like they have control in that manner, but you do. And
Yeah.
so we're not mindful about what we're constantly looking at. It's going to eat away at who we are. It's going to eat away at what we desire to do. And I think that a lot of people allow social media to define them or to give them the direction that they need to go in.
Yeah.
But social media is what we allow people to see.
Right.
That's it. So as
That-
much as it looks great for, I could be scrolling on your page and look at your wedding pictures and think, oh my God, it's so exhausting. Nah, I mean, so inspiring, not realizing that the other day you just talked to your friend about how hard marriage is.
Yeah.
We don't know that.
Right.
We put on social media what we want people to see.
We
And
glitz
even
and
as
glam.
yes, even as we're vulnerable, I work to be vulnerable, whether it's in captions, in certain pictures, in certain videos. At the same time, I'm still mindful of that. There's
Yeah.
still a boundary at how much I share, how much I want to talk about, a boundary about when I'm gonna start talking about it, because I'm not, now that I've gotten out of it, I can touch on it. But we have to be mindful about the story we're allowing society to tell us. And if
Mhm.
that's a story we're going to believe in and then embody, believe in and just take in with a grain of salt,
Yeah.
or not believe in at all. We
Right.
have to really take control and take responsibility for what we're consuming. But while there is a world that's authentic, there is a world that's still perfectionist. But I want to shed light on the world that I have noticed, and that world is simply honing in on how difficult yet worthwhile life's journeys are. And I'm
Right.
grateful that there are spaces and places where people are talking. And I'm gonna wrap my long sentence up with the other day, not the other day, a few weeks ago, Sarah Jakes and Dr. Anita were on a live, and they were just talking about the conference. They were talking about Dr. Anita's book, and that entire conversation really was centered around friendship. And it was beautiful for me. But the most important part for me was Sarah talking to Dr. Anita about how she still has not settled into Woman Evolved. She didn't settle into what had just taken place, and was asking her, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm
Right.
so used to being busy, and I couldn't sit in Woman Evolve and really like take in everything because I'm trying to make sure this worked out and that's worked out and all these different things. And it was just so heartwarming for me to feel even seen. It like she couldn't see me, but I felt seen because Sarah in her own right is, honey, yeah. But it was important for me as a woman of color to look at another woman of color who is doing amazing things for our communities, and to be honest and saying, I understood what she meant by saying we're so busy and making sure that our events are great, our platforms are nice, that we miss out on what we just did. And so
Right.
it's moments like that where we're looking at lives, looking at pictures, looking at different things to feel related to. But we just have to be mindful of what we're consuming, because it can have a very great impact and it can
Mm-hmm.
also have a very negative one if we're not careful.
Definitely. That's something I learned definitely when it comes to, what you watch. Like you said, what you watch,
Mm-hmm.
the things you allow yourself around. Because unbeknownst to us, we apply those things. And it's
Yes.
not always on purpose. Sometimes you just find yourself doing things you don't know why. And it's like, oh, I know why. I seen
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Mm-hmm.
that too is a part of learning your triggers, knowing that
Yes.
watch this person's glamorous life. But what you don't know is they're probably sleeping on somebody's couch. They're homeless. They're dealing with depression. They got this debt. You don't know
Yep.
the negative. They're
Yep.
only gonna post. Nobody's ever gonna post the negative things. Not I'm saying not. I'm not gonna say nobody. Most people only post positive glitzy glam, the
Yes.
trips, into this, into that. What they won't tell you is that trip caused their lights to go off.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how they're gonna eat when they come back. That their car
And
got
then,
repoed, or that
yep.
they don't have their kids, or that they're going through a divorce, or they're not gonna show you those things. They're gonna show you the things that look pretty, and then we compare
Yes.
ourselves to something that's really not really real.
Mm-hmm.
It's a facade. It's not real, and now you make yourself feel crappy for not having what they have, and it's just
Yeah.
like why?
Yes. And it's
So
just, it's that's the telltale sign, like you said, knowing your triggers. It's time to get off.
yeah,
When you start going down that rabbit hole in your mind about what you didn't do and what you haven't done, close out.
yeah, close it. Don't even worry about it anymore.
Don't. Mm-mm.
Don't even worry about it anymore.
Mm-mm. Let it be done.
That's it.
Let it be done.
What advice do you have to Black women that might be struggling in their mental health, but are hesitant to seek help?
I deep sighed because it pains me to think that there are people who crave a new way of being
Hmm.
and don't think that they can get it,
Yeah,
and don't know how to get it, and may not have enough fight within them left to get it.
right.
The first thing that came to my mind when you asked that was be free.
Yeah.
And then I retracted that in my brain because going through my own healing journey, I've realized that everything has a cost, and
Hmm.
so does freedom.
Yeah.
Um, the gift I work to give the world in TGM, in therapy, is understanding that this ain't what you think it is.
Right.
Healing, freedom, transformation, evolution is not what you think it is. And I say that to say people don't talk about how much work it takes, more work to be free than it
Yeah.
does to be bound. It takes so much more work to embody and embrace joy than it does to be angry.
Yeah.
It takes work to get to the other side because you have to first believe that there is something on the other side.
Right.
So
That's your
my
worth, and
advice,
that's your worth experiencing that. Yeah.
you're worth it. You're worth it. So my advice, honestly, is the Bible tells us that as it is in heaven, so it is on earth.
Mm-hmm.
There is a life that we can live on earth. Yes, the Bible also tells us that it's not a life that is without trouble, but Jesus came, he overcame it all. And that is the greatest. He is our King and Redeemer in understanding that everything from comparison, from betrayal, from judgment to misunderstanding, all of it he's experienced. And it's knowing that if I'm here, there has to be more to this. There
Mm-hmm.
has to be more to this. There has to be more to me. And so, for those who desire help and assistance, but are hesitant, I really want them to ask themselves, what is the hesitation?
Right.
What are the excuses? What are the barriers? What are those things that they believe are interfering with them living a life that they've dreamed of? And the number one question is, are you willing to do what's needed
Yeah.
for that? Are you willing to fight? Are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to submit to the journey? Are you willing to do the hard stuff? Are you willing to do that? And if you are, take the step.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe all of us know what the first step should be. But if people don't know what the first step should be, I would say reach out to somebody that you know. Reach out
Right.
to a friend, reach out to a stranger, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's you, whether it's me, whether it's somebody else that they follow. Just to say, hey, I'm looking to do something. Like a lot of people I know who have reached out to me about just wanting to get into their word. And it's like, okay, where do I need to go? And of course, people say, start in the Gospels. People say start in the Psalms, start into Proverbs. But my answer is always, did you pray?
Right.
Did you pray about reading your Bible?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ask God for some insight about where you should start? Because he might want you to jump into Nehemiah.
Right.
You might need to be in Leviticus while we playing. Like, I don't know. But I believe that it's just getting to a place where and honestly, truly, scratching all of that, I think the first step really is saying it out loud.
Yeah.
I need help. Giving yourself permission to say, I need help. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't know where to start.
You
Giving
gotta
yourself
admit
permission
it.
to say, I desire to be free from this and free from that, but I'm scared. Or
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to do next or where to go, but I'm optimistic. Just saying these things out loud brings
Mm-hmm.
life to them. And
Right.
like the basis of what you're doing, you have no idea who else needs to hear that phrase to then be able
Right.
to say, oh, I feel the same way.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said it. Because sometimes the things that come out of us, we put words to something that somebody else has been struggling to say for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So identifying the barriers, the interferences, they are what they are, the excuses as to why they
Mm-hmm.
can't get to the lifestyle that they want to get to, and saying it out loud and saying it to somebody that will hear you. Don't just
Right.
be saying it just to say it, just so you can get done with that. No, say it to
Right.
somebody who's going to hear you, understand you, and assist you in the journey that you're in. There's somebody, and somebody might be thinking, okay, there's nobody I can't trust, blah, blah, blah. There's somebody, even if it's somebody that you're not connected to. If you've been listening to this podcast for a month, y'all don't know Ashley, baby, DM her, okay? And that tell her I sent you, all right? I said it on the
Right.
podcast. But
Right.
just reach out and say it, because you have no idea what that would do to you when you say something like that out loud, and then what resources will become available to you when you did reach out for whatever it is you're looking for. But you're worth the fight. You're
Yeah.
worth the fight. You're worth freedom. You're worth the sacrifices. And it's something on the other side, man.
Yeah.
It's something on the other side. And I will take hard work. I will take sabbaticals. I will take tears. I will take warm and battling with God than living the life I used to live.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it every day.
Every day.
I'll do it all over again. Just simply because there are moments that, and we've shared this already, where we struggle with certain things, but
Mm-hmm.
when I get to a place where I'm rocking this thing out with God, getting back into that flow of stuff, I can exhale. And I love waiting to exhale. I think
Yeah.
that is one of the best classics. But the title alone, like we as people, we as women, we are waiting to exhale,
Yeah.
to breathe. Like, oh my God, I've been waiting to get it off my chest. But
Yeah.
sometimes we're the ones that are holding ourselves back. So
Mhm.
fight for it because it's worth it.
Well,
It's worth it.
Sister Johnson done took us to church, and well, she done took us to the church house. She done gave us a sermon.
I'm
She
done. I don't even think you should reach out to me because you should have warned me that this is gonna be like this.
listen. When I say that I am full, I mean just that. I have so much to just reflect on for the week, and I'm grateful for it. I truly am. Um, I truly am, and I think these type of conversations and episodes are what keeps me going,
Yes.
um, because it makes it all worth it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It makes it worth it to sit down and understand that it's a Me Too situation. Like you're not the only one. Somebody else is experiencing the same exact thing. Um,
100%.
so I am full from this conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I don't I don't in my mind it wasn't gonna go this way. This I thought it was gonna be something else. But to God be the glory. I don't know.
Okay.
Um, yeah. But I do want to ask you mentally because it's
Yeah.
a question I've been trying to ask.
Mhm.
Mentally, on a scale of 1 to 10, one being the worst place, 10 being the best place, where would you say you are mentally?
Ooh. Now, as October 22nd, I'm an 8.
Okay.
I'm between a 7 and an 8. If you
Okay.
had asked me this 2 weeks ago, my answer would have been a 4.
Okay.
Um, I I was raised. My dad had always told me to not read the Bible like a book. Like you need to study it. So I love that you said earlier that you're working to understand.
Right.
And we love to quote the scripture that recites, being transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Hmm.
I am transparently living that
Yeah.
currently.
Hmm.
2 weeks ago, honey, I was losing it. Just not, nothing made sense at
Right.
all. I didn't know what I was saying in my therapy sessions. I didn't know what I was saying in my meetings. I had to do staffings for kids who were Baker acted and all these different things, and I had no answers. And I had been struggling from the middle of September to literally last week, just not grasping what
Hmm.
in the world is going on. And when you are unlearning to then relearn again, everything you thought you knew
It's
doesn't make sense.
yeah,
Yeah. Now it's
taboo.
getting
It doesn't make sense.
deleted. Yes. It's getting deleted. And so now it makes room for new thoughts, new truths, new realities. Um, but I say today I'm at an 8 because one, this, and you have no idea how important even this was for me. Because I've been fighting with God for a long time, and responsibility, leadership, sacrifice, sifting, all of those different things always have been interfering with me just kind of stepping closer in it with him. And us having this and setting this up reminded me that there's still use for me.
Hmm.
That when we are in our roughest moments, we think, okay, that's it. I can't be used like this. That there's nothing good coming out of it. Like God gonna just throw me away. And it's like, no, we just got stuff to work on.
Yeah.
We're working on some things. And so
Hmm.
because I've been shifting my perspective, because I've been open to hearing what he has to say, because I've been showing up vulnerably and just letting him guide wherever it is that I'm at, because I'm continuing to include him in my processes, I'm at an 8 rather than a 4 because I'm realizing that it's not up to me. It ain't
Right.
never been up to me. So I don't got to carry all of this on
Because it
my
ain't your
shoulders.
business.
Like, I don't have to put myself through all that I've been putting myself through
Right.
because God never asked us to. And so
Yeah.
because I've been doing that with him and really getting to the gym, just doing things that will help me to understand what's going on in my body, I can exhale.
Yeah.
But if we had this conversation 2 weeks ago,
Give you a different answer.
different answer. And I probably wouldn't have been no use to you, my girl.
Yeah.
No
Listen, and
use to
that's okay. That's okay. Because
you.
it is important to understand that some days you are 4.
Yes.
And some days I'm a solid 8. And some days I can be like a 1.5. You never know. It's just as the days go. But
Yes, it
you have
is.
to understand that that's okay.
Yes.
That's okay. Because
Yeah.
one
So
thing
thank you
about
for
life,
asking
nobody
me.
ever gave us a manual.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody gave us a manual. And you never
Mm-mm.
know what to expect any day.
No. And the
You never know.
greatest gift I can give to myself and to other people is being honest about it.
Yeah.
You all right today, job? No, but I will be.
Right. Right.
I will
Hey,
be.
it is what it is. I'm not
That's
all right.
it.
Give me a couple minutes. I'll be all right.
That's all I need. That's all I need.
Come to
So
Jesus.
where's your rating?
I can say that today in this moment, um, I would say that I am at a. I'm gonna give myself a solid 7.5.
Okay.
Not because I'm sad or upset about anything. I think that I am not. I think I'm right now kind of coasting in contentment.
Okay.
Um, but there are other things that I would like to achieve, and I know that they will happen not in my time, in God's time. But um, those things kind of weigh heavy on me
Yes.
because those are things I do want to see come to pass. Um, uh, I'm waiting for some answers on some clarity on some things.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and there is, the project that I told you I was working on.
Yes.
That's something that's so near and dear to me that I really want to work out and be great and thrive. So I know that
Mm-hmm.
it not happen overnight, but it's just at the top of my head.
Yes.
So that's why I'm at a solid 7.5. But it could be worse. I could be a 1, and I'm not. So I think I'm.
Listen, I'm telling you, it could be different, and we're gonna take the 7.5. We're gonna take the 8. We're
Yeah,
gonna take what we got. And
we got.
I'm going to say, do what you can and let him handle the rest.
Yeah, that's all we can do.
That's
That's all we
it.
can do. That's it. Listen, I have enjoyed the conversation. You have
I'm great.
helped me get my little life together. Um, and I didn't know that this is how this was going.
Yes. Yes.
But I can definitely say that my heart is full. I am definitely grateful for the conversation. I'm grateful for the connection. We definitely have to do it again. Definitely have to stay in contact.
100%.
But yeah, listen, I don't know, baby. I don't know what else there's to do but a benediction because
Well, I will say congratulations on the platform.
thank you.
Congratulations on what you're doing. Congratulations on your authenticity. Okay. My favorite word is courage. I'm leaning out of using strength and strong and just being courageous. And
Yeah,
as a Black woman who is speaking to Black men, speaking to Black women, and creating a space where people can be related to and have resources from, thank you for doing what you're doing. And even on the hard days, we need it.
yeah,
Whatever you have to offer, we'll take it because we
yeah,
understand and know that you're working for it to be your best. So
yeah.
good job. Great
Listen,
job.
now, Jai, you done already took me to church. Don't
I'm
try to
just
get me
saying, right? I can never leave a space without giving honor where honor is due, honey.
listen.
You doing it.
I appreciate that. I also now want to thank you, and definitely give you your flowers because you are definitely thriving. And on the behalf of the Black men, I would like to say thank you for creating a space for them to be safe and to be human and to express themselves. A place where they can let those guards down and just feel
Yes.
without judgment, without feeling like They can't let go of that masculinity.
Mhm.
So thank you for that. Thank you for creating a platform for them and just women of color as well, because this mental health thing is serious, and we need more of us
Yes.
to get this thing where it needs to be.
Yes.
So I thank you on the behalf of them, on the behalf of having loving a black man, on the behalf
Yeah.
of raising a young black man, on the behalf of raising a young black woman. I thank you.
Pleasure's all mine, girl. We in here. Okay.
I told
This
you.
it.
I told you. I told you.
We we in
That's
this.
it.
We in it. We in
So,
it.
is there any last words that you would like to leave with the viewers and listeners? Any, definitely give them your tags for social media.
Of
Those who
course.
may want to reach out, how they can do that. And any last words of encouragement for the listeners?
Yes. So my Facebook is Ajay Johnson, AJAI. My Instagram is as told by Ajay, all one word. And the Guided Millennials platform is literally the Guided Millennial. Um, I will say this. I need to actually is I'll say it in text message because it's private. Like it's an invite only type of situation. So never mind. But I'll text you about that.
Because that's
I
that VIP
will
access. Remember, we talked
It
about
is.
it.
This
That's it.
look, the name Ashley and Angelina already on the list. So
That's it.
we all right.
We all right.
I will leave the people with you're loved. You're loved. And even on the days where you don't feel like you're lovable, even on the days where you don't feel like you want to be loved or that you can love other people, um, you're loved. And I will encourage people who are just trekking through the journey of mental health to continue along the fight, continue along the journey, and just be dedicated to what the journey is and not the outcome. I think so
Absolutely.
many times we are so obsessed with what it's going to do for us and what it's going to be like, but there's so much along the journey that we get to see, we get to witness. And conversations like this are one of them. We're not
Yeah.
looking to be perfectly healed to talk.
Right.
We in the middle of all that we're in the middle of and
Hmm.
still finding a way to be and being okay with being how we are.
Yeah.
So I will say you're loved and fight. Keep pressing, keep going. Because you're never, 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 never alone. Literally, somebody's coming out of what you're going into. Somebody's
Hmm.
already in what you're in, and maybe
Hmm.
you're coming out of something that somebody else is about to step into. So
Right.
keep it going. But yes, we're here. We're excited,
Yeah.
and honey, this is not the end between the God of Millennial and the Black Bold and Beautiful podcast. So
It is
stay
not.
tuned, everybody. It's gonna be great.
Listen, so what I want, can you just give them a brief overview of what the guided millennial is?
Yes. So it is a platform where I discuss the millennial journey guided by God. And right now we are in the evolution stages and we are just adjusting into being a space where we are blooming. We're dedicated to our growth processes. And so all the bad stuff, well, not bad, but all the hard stuff, the beautiful stuff, we're going to talk about it. So right now, we're stepping out of blog season into conversation party season. And so we're just creating spaces and places where people can come join together and talk, having these conversations in person together, building that I don't want to say community because that's one of the biggest things I really want people to understand. TGM is not a place where we're building sisterhood or brotherhood. I only say that because oftentimes we think so much about how we are connecting with other people that we miss out
Mhm.
on what we need for ourselves. And so
Right.
every space that I create in person is meant for you to take what you need to get for you while also
Mhm.
knowing and seeing and recognizing that you're never by yourself in that
Right.
same process and journey as well. And so conversation, healing, vulnerability, those are the platforms and the pillars of TGM. Everything mental health, everything therapy. Right now, am I accepting new therapy clients? I got to get back to y'all on that. But it literally is encompassing community and vulnerability and just helping us to change a narrative about how Black men and Black women can interact together to decipher and decode life's journeys, all of them which are being guided by God.
Absolutely. I love
Yes,
it.
ma'am.
I love it. Well, Mr. Jai, I thank you for your time. I thank you
Yes. Thank you.
for your just your stuff, girl. Because you have listened, you have given me life, honey, completely.
Same, honey. Same.
But I do thank you for your yes. I thank you for joining me. I thank you for the conversation. I thank you for your grace. I thank you for your transparency. And I am looking forward to all that God has in store
Yeah.
for the Guided Millennial, for Jai Johnson. And I'm just excited to watch this journey.
Yes, ma'am. Same, honey. Same. Thank you. The pleasure has been mine. I'm grateful. I'm gonna go to
Yes.
bed smiling tonight.
Listen, I'm about to take a shower and I'm all right. Like I'm okay. It is well with me tonight for
It is
sure.
well, honey, with my soul. Girl, okay, see. All right.
Cause see, all right. So well, listen. I'm Ashley Angelina. This is John Johnson. We thank you guys for joining the conversation. And without further ado, you guys be encouraged, stay encouraged. Don't forget to encourage someone. And remember, as always, it's love.
Yeah.